For all your email management needs, look no further than Aweber, the preferred choice for geekoutdoors.com. Sign up today and you could get a 30-day free trial by checking out the affiliate link in the description area below.
Hey, welcome to another episode of geekoutdoors.com. If you watch my channel, you know that I absolutely love movies. And obviously the movies that I like the most are geeky, sci-fi, fantasy type movies. But I'm a lover of all movies, and one of my favorite types of movies are actually international movies. Now, Netflix, they've really done an excellent job in expanding their international section. So if you go to browse and you look up international, you'll come to this section, and there's quite a few movies here. There's even some recent movies that just came out, in the past year, and sometimes in a few months, and it's already here on Netflix. And one of my genres that I enjoy is definitely Bollywood movies, or movies out of India. And the one that I kept hearing about since last year, it actually came out in Christmas, was this movie called Dangal with Aamir Khan. And Aamir Khan, if you ever watch movies out of India, he is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest actor out of India. And then when this movie was released, it really got a lot of acclaim, a lot of praise, and it's one of the highest grossing Indian films ever. And then that was surpassed actually by another really popular movie called Bahubali, and Bahubali 2 is the sequel, and that one is, as far as I know, the current highest grossing Indian film of all time. I think it even surpassed PK, but there's actually the Bahubali 1 before this one. So I'll probably definitely watch Bahubali 1 and Bahubali 2 and make a review on that. But the movie I want to talk about is Dangal. And Dangal, when I first heard about it and I saw the trailers, my original thought was this is going to be, another type of based on a true story movie, and things are going to be very cliche. And if you actually watch the trailer for Dangal, it really seems like a girl power movie, and that's definitely a part of it. But there is way more to that than this. It has so many wonderful positive messages, not only for girls, but also in general. And I'll go into more detail about this in the review, because Dangal, it's not just about either that or either a true story or even a wrestling movie. It's all of those things and way more. And so if you haven't seen this, I'm going to try my best not to give any spoilers. But as far as my opinion right now, this is the best movie out of India I've ever seen. And it's up there in terms of documentaries, inspired stories. It's just a wonderful movie. It's fantastic. Okay. And so the whole movie centers around Mahavir. Mahavir Ving Singh Pokat, and he's a real person. And so that's him right there, played by Aamir Khan. And basically Aamir Khan was an ex-wrestler who was extremely talented. He had the opportunity to go even beyond being a national champion. But because of the realities of money, he had to give up on his dream. And so this really sets it off right away early in the movie. It sets up in just a few minutes who the central character is, what his talents are, and the struggle that he has at the beginning. And man, if you don't know anything about wrestling, and I mean real wrestling, I love, the WWF, WWE. That was really fun. But when I'm talking about real wrestling, international competition, stuff like that, that's what I'm talking about. And if you know nothing about wrestling, you will know something by the end of this movie, and it actually makes you extremely interested. And Aamir, and I'm going to really refer to him as the actor because it's a lot easier for me. Aamir Khan, he really wants to have a son, okay, to take on his legacy and to basically do what he wasn't able to do. And his wife, she wants the same thing for him as well. She wants her husband to be happy, and, whatever happened, she's going to be there to help support, but also at the same time, they support each other. And so it's not just a one-sided thing. But then when he finds out that he doesn't have his son from the first child, and then finds out later he has actually another child, which is also daughter, and then finally he ends up having 4 daughters. And the movie does set this up really well. It explains that he loves his children, he loves his daughters dearly, but the thing is, he cannot fulfill his dream because, obviously, at least in this culture, or even abroad, that girls don't really do much in terms of wrestling. Okay, and they do set that up early on in the movie where this is not a girl's sport. Okay, and there's even a montage of wrestlers at the beginning where wrestling is really deeply inside the culture of this movie. And that's the thing that I enjoyed about this movie right off the bat. They really focus on the characters, okay? And then one of the main parts of the character is the actual culture itself. Not only the culture of India, but the culture of this little small town in this little village. And if you've ever been to a country like this, where there's a lot of small villages and stuff, there's a lot of not only history there between the people who know each other, but also, like I said, the actual culture of that actual area. Because sometimes, even though you live in a country, their habits, their language, the way they live, it can be different from, village to village. And that is a huge part of this movie as well, because as Aamir is trying to teach his daughters, and his daughters are Jita and Babita, and teach them wrestling. And before you even get to that, you're probably wondering, why is he trying to teach his daughters wrestling? If you watch a trailer, you'll see, and this isn't a spoiler, you'll see that he discovers that his daughters have an innate, an inner ability to fight, okay, because he himself is a fighter. And so from there, he sees an opportunity at first to fulfill not only his dream of becoming a gold medalist for India, and even for himself, but also, and you learn this later in the movie, that he's doing it for his daughters. In the end, he is doing it for his daughters. So it fulfills many things. He's doing it for his daughters, he's doing it for his family. And it's not a very simple story, because even his wife, even though she supports him, she doesn't support him, because she's getting so many challenges with the people talking about how crazy he is, what he's doing to his daughters, the fact that she's worried about her daughters not only hurting themselves, but not being able to, be accepted around their friends, be accepted around the community, and just being little girls, and that is another part of the story. And so there's many layers in this story. And there's a lot of other characters around this movie, but the main characters is definitely Babita, Jita, and Aamir Khan playing Mahavir. And there are definitely music in this movie. So if you watch any type of movies out of India, music is a big part of every movie. And the music here is excellent, especially the actual lead title, Dangal, which stands for wrestle. I think it stands for wrestler or wrestle. And man, speaking of wrestling, this movie, it reminds me so much of the movie Rocky, okay? And I don't mean that in like it's the same exact type of movie in terms of boxing movie, and then they just replace with wrestling. No, it's, if you watch Rocky, you'll know that it's a story about him trying to reach his dreams, fighting for what he believes in, being around the people that he loves, doing what he loves. There's so many layers underneath Rocky, and this movie has it, And when there are scenes of wrestling, man, it's awesome. I mean, even though these are actors and actresses, they really did train with a professional wrestler. The wrestling in this movie is so exciting. It seems authentic. And there's an awesome scene here where they actually explain how wrestling is done competitively as well. So then when you're watching this, you understand the rules of the game, and you understand why they're doing what they're doing. And the wrestling scenes themselves, from the time they're in their small village to the time later on where it's in the international scene, it's really gripping. I mean, it looks like at any moment in time, she might lose, and that is really hard to do. There's always this sense of tension. And I do want to say that throughout this movie, it goes through different stages of not only these girls' lives, from little girls all the way to adults, but also Aamir Khan as well. And if you are familiar with some of the promo or promotion that they did for this movie, they showed a transformation of Aamir Khan, because Aamir Khan, he's actually 52 years old. Okay, and so he's not, a young person, but in this particular movie, he had to go through a transformation from a young Aamir Khan, where he's just fit, built, and you see him right at the beginning, he's just a built guy. He's all cut and stuff, he is built for wrestling. But then later on, you see him transition to being a father, being someone who pretty much gave up on his dreams, and so he gained a lot of weight. And then you could see that in this movie. You can see the transformation. And then later on, he gets even older, and they did something similar to his wife, but not as well as they did for Aamir Khan. So you could actually see a physical change. And I actually really like one of the other characters as well. It's Amkar. And Amkar is basically their cousin in a way. And there's also this guy who has a restaurant in a way, and it's funny. I don't know. There's a lot of moments of humor as well, and I'm trying not to go too far into the movie because I don't want to spoil everything in this movie. But the actors and actresses that portray these characters, they did an amazing job. And actually, my favorite out of it was definitely Aamir Khan and Jita and Prabhita. These two girls, especially here when they were younger, they were awesome. I mean, these two girls did an amazing job acting, because there's a lot of emotion in this. And there's Amkar, he's basically like their adopted brother in a way, and he's just really funny. But he's there to really support not only Jita and Babita, but also Mahivir as well, played by Aamir Khan. And this really covers so many things, like initially when you watch the trailers, you really think it is about just, empowering girls and women later on. And it is that. It definitely is that. But it's more than that. It's a story of dreams. It's a story of hope. It's a story of family. I mean, they really focus a lot on their family. And it's also a story of what's going on in different cultures, okay? What the people in the village think, what their traditions are. And then there is a very powerful scene in this movie, and it's not a very cliche thing. It was actually something I didn't expect. There's a wedding scene in this movie, and you just have to see it. It really sets the tone. It explains so many things, and it does it in a way that is not cliche, and at the same time that I did not expect. So, as you could probably tell, I absolutely love this movie. It's a movie that I could watch over and over again. And like I said, there's so many layers to this movie, very similar to like Rocky. When you watch it over and over, you get so many different things out of it. And the fact that it was inspired by a true story, and they actually show the real people behind this after the movie, it's very inspiring. But it's also an amazing, an amazing telling of what's really the challenges going on for girls within these communities, where they are forced in a lot of ways to accept and do things, because not out of their own will, and that is a very powerful message in this movie. But like I said, there's many other messages around that. There's family, there's perseverance, there's not giving up on your dreams, and it's just awesome. I don't know of a better movie in this genre, and it's one of my favorite movies of the year, and my top movie out of India that I've seen so far. So if you haven't seen Dangal, I definitely recommend you go watch it. It is on Netflix. This is an awesome movie, and I'll probably repeat it a lot of things over and over because it was just that good. It's so impactful, and Like I said, this is a movie that you will remember and that you'll watch over and over, and I'll happily watch it over and over. And so if you had any comments, leave it in the comments area below. And as always, if you did enjoy these videos, leave a like and subscribe. And if you wanted to support my channel further, you could do that at patreon.com/Geek Outdoors. Thanks for checking out this episode.
And as always, if you like these videos, be sure to click on the subscribe button. And for full written content, audio content, and additional geek stuff, head over to geekoutdoors.com, and I'll see you outdoors on the very next episode.